Hi Jeff, so what we want to talk about today is precision agriculture, and I would like you just to give a little bit of background in precision ag.
Well, I've been involved and observed, I think, precision ag for, since the early 90s, since about 91. I was involved in the early mapping escapades for precision ag to try and apply the right rate of fertilizer and so forth, working for
You helped this
company.
company grow into this new market. I mean, they describe it as an adjacent market, but I don't think it's so adjacent in the firm of business. It's adjacent geographically. But
It really was adjacent for some of our technology operationally, because we had to have, this landscape model that said, how fast water moves and how it's affected by temperature and the atmosphere and the climate and those kind of things. But you're right, we really had to focus on the unique needs of agriculture and how farmers make decisions about, what's the right rate of fertilizer, or what's the right rate, what's the right time, really. So I always tell people that the two questions that we answer most often with our product is related to where and when. A lot of product companies have answers for what to do and how to do it, but not as much detail on exactly where and when.
how did you come about developing the market research and convince your company that there's a market here to pursue?
One of the things that a lot of ag tech companies these days are looking at is focusing on farmers and how they have questions that need to be answered. And my solution to how do we attack the market was, well, not focus as much on farmers, not ignoring farmers' needs, but more on the companies that have products that farmers want to consume, and how can we make those products better. It was almost like BASF used to say years ago, we don't make the product, but we make that product better. And that's exactly what we do with seed and fertilizer and chemicals, is help.
So your market segmentation then started looking at the suppliers to the farmers.
Absolutely.
And they're
not only the suppliers that make the products, but also how do they get that product to the market. So the ag retailers, the distributors that are also responsible for partnering with these manufacturers in order to bring those products to market.
process that you've developed over the years for this market research, market forecasting, or have you copied one from a business school?
I think as much as anything, a lot of the things that I've learned over the course of my career with crop input suppliers, with the ag retail business, even with manufacturers like John Deere and Monsanto, they have a process about trying to understand what the problem is, looking at the market conditions and so forth that create an opportunity, and then going to attack those with a plan. And oftentimes we've had to adjust and adapt our plan. I would say that we probably have developed on the order of about 24 different products,
24
that
or
fit different
so.
crops in different markets.
Fantastic, yes. And have the sales met your forecast?
Well, they've certainly met our expectations. Sometimes our forecasts exceed our expectations, because we always strive to outdo ourselves. But we certainly have excelled in what we've set out to do.
And is there one great story that you have where you really found a new market, an unmet need, and you got something done in a few months? Or
I think the one that sort of resonates most with me is with potatoes. It was for a potato company that operates in many countries, but primarily in the U.S., all the way from Texas up to North Dakota. And one of the things they were doing, because they were trying to take out packing potatoes, which are very subject to the temperature that those potatoes are brought out of the ground or dug. And one of the things they were doing, they were sending their agronomists out with probes to sense the temperature of the soil at the depth of potatoes were at, in order to make sure that they only brought them out of the ground at the right temperature, so they didn't have too much cost in storage, and they also minimized damage. Well, all that effort took an awful lot of folks going out to the field each day, multiple times during the day. As we interjected our models into there, they could verify and validate for us that our models were within 1 degree Fahrenheit of exactly what their temperature sensors were actually measuring. And so they actually did away with that activity for the agronomists, saved time, improved actually the quality at which they brought potatoes out of the ground, and then increased the efficiency of the machinery that went down to the harvest.
they're getting into business and maybe going to build a career like you have in market research and market analysis?
I think the biggest piece of advice that I could offer them is don't be undaunted when, discouraged when people say, no, that's not possible. Because oftentimes I've felt and have been, advised that things aren't possible. And when I put my mind to it, when I collaborate with others, when I find out and ask questions of the people that really have done, what we're trying to do, we often find that things are possible. We just have to think about it in a different way.
Thank you very much.
All right.